Okay guys, I thought I'd show you installation of this broken purge valve in my wife's 2013 Ford Escape. I've never done this job before. I've done parts of it, but she's got a P1450 code with the check engine light, and that's the purge valve. So this is the kit with the replacement purge valve. I do think it's quite funny that you have to get this whole kit. I think that's the valve itself, that little bit there. It's funny you have to buy this whole harness and a bunch of tubes just to fix the valve, but anyway, so we're about to start, and this involves removing the cowling. So here's a tip for you, is to mark your windshield wipers before you pull them off, because that can create trouble. So anyway, we're gonna have to take this cowling off here, because the stuff that we need to get to, from what I've seen online, is under the cowling and under that cover. So that's the first step, cowling off. Actually, first step is windshield wipers off, cowling off, and then this cover off, and then hopefully we can find something that looks like that. So we'll get to it. So we will just try and get this loosened up a little bit. I've had these wipers off a couple of other times. Mainly the last time was with battery replacement, another time with strut replacement, and this is the kind of the trickiest part of the whole cowling removal. So now, to get the rest of this cowling off, there is a screw here. I'm trying to remember exactly how many screws. I think that one on the other side, just like it. And then you've got these clips here that you have to remove. You have to also unscrew this and let the brake fluid reservoir hang. It'll be fine. So we'll start taking those screws out. This is an 8mm bolt. Now we're going to start removing all of these little clips. Easiest way I found to do it is to get a little flathead screw, just a little screwdriver, and just kind of pry it out, being careful to try not to lose it in the process. Now we need to remove the brake fluid reservoir and just let it hang there so it doesn't come off with the cowling. So I think at this point the cowling will just lift out and away. So we'll try and pull it up. it's a good chance to clean under there now that that's out. Now we have to get this bottom pan free, and we already have one bolt out. There is another there I see, and I'm kind of thinking that is all. It's been a few months since I did this before, so we'll get those 2 bolts out that I see and see if it is free. The only thing left is removal of this this air valve here. I mean, not an air valve, but the intake. So let me see. I think I'm gonna take a minute and find out where all these hoses are, because I have to figure out which ones actually have to come off. So let's see if we can figure that part out. Okay, I think I'm getting the lay of the land here. So this part here, you can see it matches this tube. So it appears I have to take all this out, and this is going to be, I think, fun to try and get all this done. And then it looks like also I have to get back here, which is why this has to come out. So I think I need to go ahead and try and get the air filter free. The air filter, I keep calling it the wrong name. The intake air free. And can you tell I'm not really a mechanic? I'm just kind of a DIY sort of guy. But anyway, so let me work on getting that air filter. Let me get that intake manifold, that air supply out of there. All right, let's see if we can get that done. So I've been getting the lay of the land here, and I wanted to show you one of the more interesting parts. Is this bracket here is the replacement of this piece right here, and that bracket is right there. I don't know if you can see that well enough. And there is the nut that supports it, and there is another one presumably back there somewhere. So that'll be fun. See if I can find a way to get those bolts out of there, because that's the bracket that goes on there. How the hell am I supposed to get bolt off of there? It's loose now, so maybe I can just spin it with my fingers. Yeah, that's working pretty well. And I can't see the other one, so we just have to hope that I can get to it in the blind. This kind of reminds me of the strut replacement. You know, I'm dropping the bolt. Where the hell does that bolt go? Got him. Alright, I got the other bolt off. And now it is sitting right. There's that little turd. There he is. Right there. That's going to be the funnest part, I think, of reassembly. Trying to get these bolts back on. Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait for that part. Alright, so I think we have enough of it off to start trying to assemble some of this. I think I'm going to start at this end because this looks reasonably simple. And I realized, like, let's start here with this one. So this has to come off. I believe it's, no, it's not that one. It's something, there it is. See that little green? That's the connector. That has to come off. So I'm going to work on getting that one out, and I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter if I hurt them. I'm hoping, because I believe these new ones already have the locks ready. Yeah, they do. So this should just push right on. So it's okay that I take those green OEM locks off of there in the process. So I'm going to work on that and see if I can get that one off down there and start installing this new part. Alright guys, I was trying to get a little more creative to get this piece out right here. You know, it has a bottom lock, which was, I already pulled that out pretty easy, but I'm having a hard time finding a way to get in here. But one of the problems was I couldn't get this to turn, so I just cut it. I mean, we're replacing it anyway, so I cut the hose off, and I think now I can get to both of those white tabs. I can push them both out, and because I had to push that white tab away from the piece, basically toward the engine, to get that to unhook. So hopefully this will work now a little better now that I've got that off of there. So let's see what I can make some progress. Oh my, you guys, that was ridiculous complicated down in there. This is what was in there, and it was installed about like this. It slides on, and the top lock I popped out pretty easy, but I couldn't get that dang white one to come up, and you have to get that thing all the way out, like all the way out, to then slide off there. Anyway, now you can see that's where the new one goes. Jeez, what a hassle. Okay, so I think okay, so that one goes there. Then we come upon these rails, and I think the next one to unhook is going to be just as fun to get to, because it's way down there. Can you see that little green head sticking up down there? That's where it goes. So I'll probably spend another 45 minutes trying to get that lock off of there. But at least I'm kind of figuring out the procedure. It's tricky when you can't get much access to it. Alright, we'll see if we can make some progress. If I have to, I may cut that one off again too, so I can swivel that assembly. It does seem to help if you can swivel that assembly so that you can face it each time to pry the locks off of there. Alright, be back in a sec. Okay, so I was going to give you the game plan for removing that green lock down there. I'll point to it so you can see it for sure. That one right there. So if you can see right there on the edge is a little green ear, and there's another one on the other side over there. The game plan is you have to push those ears down. In fact, I'll show you on this little mock-up. It's kind of like this. So this piece is the ears we just looked at, so you have to push that out, comes all the way away, and then this is enough to still give you a headache, so this has to come up. That green piece right there is what we're looking at. It's facing us there at the top. So I just can't show it and film at the same time, but I'm going to try and use my screwdrivers to push the little ears down towards the ground, popping that piece out, and then I'll try and wiggle the green lock up from towards me, and then once we get that, the piece will quite easily slide away from the fitting. Okay, well, I got it, and that approach worked pretty well. You see it down in there, it's loose, I haven't pulled it out yet, but what I ended up doing, just again to try and help you with those stupid locks, is I did use a screwdriver. This is not a screwdriver, but you get the idea, and I pushed that ear down to the ground, and then I wedged this away from the locking body. Here, I'll show it to you on this one. I wedged that away, kind of like that, with the screwdriver, got a pair of pliers on it, and yanked it out. So it came out in a couple pieces, but that's fine. It's coming out. So okay, so that one's loose, and it looks like that was off the thing the tube I can't name, the air, I don't know what you call it. I'm gonna quit trying. And then it goes, where does it go then? So I think actually we're kind of loose here. I think the only one that's not loose yet is back here. I do already have the bracket loose, as you can see, and it appears to be connected right there in the back. You can see those green tabs. There's the little green ears right there. I think that's the last one I have to pull out. So I'm going to work on that. I'll get back to you. I'm really trying to show you these locks, because this seems to be the most interesting part of the whole operation. So you can see, I can get both in here, right? So you can see I've already got one side off. I just used a screwdriver and kind of pried it towards the driver's side. And on the other side, there's another wing. You can't see it, but you know that wing's there. And then then you know right here is going to be a piece that has to go towards the passenger side. Anyways, that's the deal. So it's going to be pretty flimsy plastic. Once you kind of get it worked on, it breaks pretty easy, which is good. And there was an electrical connection that I just undid. It was super simple right there. And all you have to do to unlock it is I just stuck that's just a little locking tab. So I put a little screwdriver in right there and just kind of lifted it a bit, and it pulled right out. So I think once we get these parts unlocked, that's the hard part. The rest I think will be quite easy. Okay, you guys, I've been messing with this stupid thing. I got the green tab off. Now you can see the white part right there. That white tab has to come out. I think I'm about to figure it out, and it seems the best approach is to wedge down in there. I don't know if you can see that. And it's out. And it's out, which means now it should, I don't know if I have enough hands to, it should just pop right out. If I can get my hands in there, it should just come right out. It's being a little persistent, but it's not locked. The lock is on the floor. I think it's because there's a flexible pipe under it, which is also moving a bit. So let me put the camera down and just pull that thing straight up. It should just come right off there. What a hassle was that. That was the hardest part. Getting that stupid thing out of there. So alright, so I'm going to take a short break, and then we'll come back with the installation, which really should be pretty easy. I'm thinking it'll be quick. So we'll take a short break, get something to drink, and then we'll come back for part 2. Alright, so we've had a short break, and just to recap, we spent a lot of effort getting the old piece off, which is there. Biggest problem was getting to those locks. So now what we're going to do is reverse the process, and hopefully it'll go a lot smoother. So I'm going to just lay the cable in, or all those, the new parts, all those tubes, lay them in where they belong, and then start snapping it all back together. It should go pretty smooth, I hope. Alright, so I've been laying in the new hose. I got this one plugged in down here. Yeah, you can sort of see it way down here. This part and this part, they were actually really easy to go on. And so now I'm just working on this bit with the brackets that you will recall. It's hard to get to, but I'm gonna work on getting these in place here. So that's kind of the tricky part, is getting that bolt back on. And there's another one that you really can't even see. You can't see it, it's under there. Anyway, tricky. Alright, I think I got it. I knew that was going to be a challenge. I got that one and the one that you can't even see. And now I just need to plug my new Jeez, that was a hassle. Alright, so we got that one. Plugged in. It's a little bit harder because the tube flexes under you. There is an electrical connection there. Right there. So we will plug that bad boy in. Try to make it so you can see what we're doing. Make sure it's locked. Okay, and there's the lock, so it is good to go. Okay, so I'm just checking my lines. This one has a standoff. Here. Okay, that one. This is how easy it's supposed to go. Just plug it on there and it snaps in. So it's pretty easy to reinstall. So I think that's it. I just have to finish putting things back together now. So I'm just going to double check one more time. So this just has these, if you're just curious how it connects, it just has these little receivers that go on these little things sticking up. So that's pretty straightforward. So just an observation here as to how this goes back in. You notice these clips that you can see, and they go into these receivers here. Now we have to push these clips back in each of these little receivers like that. So I'll just go around and do all this. And I'm being careful to get on my lines. Here's my line. That's why I mark those, because if you don't get it in the right spot, it will mess up the wipers. Could mess up your motors. And then this one, when we come back to tighten this, this needs to be really tight. This is an important point. This has to be tight. If you think you're just going to do it loosely and come back and tighten it again later, you're making a mistake, my friend, because you will strip the little cogs on the blades. And I'm sure there's a torque value for this. I don't know what it is. I'm just making sure it's nice and snug. That should do it. All right, so that's all buttoned up. We're going to clear the codes and see if they come back. Hopefully this was our P1450 problem. And we're going to turn the key on without starting the car. Okay, so turn ignition on. Did that. Any key to continue. Okay, found code 1. Yeah, we know that. And let's just read the code, even though we think it's a P1450. And it wants to know what kind of car this is. This is a Ford. So P1450 is the code. We knew that. Okay, so we are going to erase the codes. Yes. All right, so let's start the car. So it may take a little while, I suppose. It sounds a little funky, but from what I understand, it has to reset some fuel flow or airflow, I don't know, vacuum values, I don't know, but we'll just let it drive some, and after a few days, hopefully that dang code won't come back. So maybe we'll do a follow-up if we see the code again. All right, see ya, bye.